What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's Facebook Live session. If you are a part of the Unlocking Greatness community, if you have been following this journey for any period of time, you know that we are dropping weekly sessions to help individuals just like you unlock the greatness that I believe God has put inside of you. I talk about this a lot in coaching sessions, in workshops, even when I speak from the stage. I say so often that we desire greatness, we desire to succeed, we desire to achieve, which is an incredible thing. Like it's an honorable and admirable thing to desire success. I believe that we should all chase the greatest potential in that we can. But more often than not, in our pursuit of success, we are looking to add external things to achieve that success. And it's not wrong to learn tools, process, strategy. Like that's all there. And sometimes those things are helpful to unlock what's inside of us. But ultimately, if you want to achieve the greatness you've been created for, it's about what's in here. It's about what's already been put inside of you. God has created you uniquely. He's wired you in such a way, equipped you in such a way, enabled you in such a way to achieve things that only you will be able to achieve. And so we need to figure out what that is. So when I talk about this journey to unlock greatness, even though we've created this blueprint, even though we have frameworks and guides and tools and resources, those things we have created those in a way that I want to show you. I want those tools to show you that it's about developing what's inside of you. Those tools are a means to the end. The end is the internal development. With that being said, this week's session is about navigating the wound analysis framework. So, quick plug for those of you, most of you should know this by now, hopefully, but back in September, I released this book, Wounds, How Hurt, Heartache, and Tragedy Become the Keys to Unlocking Greatness. And in that book, in that story, in my story, I share 9 pivotal moments and or seasons of life, difficult circumstances, difficult seasons that I endured and had to ultimately overcome, to learn from, to grow from. But as I was writing my book, one of the things that I was trying to figure out was, um, you know, I think a lot of times when we process things that we go through, when we process challenges, when we process things that we struggle with, I think that more often that process is, how can I get through it? How can I get to the place that I want to get to? And that's fine. We should be seeking to grow. We should be seeking to move forward. But we don't want to overlook the opportunity in front of us. And that opportunity is to examine what actually happened. And so I just realized that there wasn't a lens. There just really wasn't a lens to look through, to study these hurts, to understand why they happened, what happened to me, what the result was to those around me. And so as the result of that, I created this framework that would later become known as the wound analysis framework. It wasn't named that initially. It was just this process that I went through. But as I wrote, as I stepped through each wound, each struggle, each hurt, each heartache in my life, I went back through them as I was writing and processed them through the framework of this wound analysis framework. And it was so incredibly beneficial to me. And in doing so, I started then to apply that to the people that I was coaching because most people, you've probably heard me say this before, but most people hire a coach to achieve a goal or overcome a challenge or some combination of both. But it's usually the former. They want to achieve a goal, and sometimes they have to overcome a challenge to achieve the goal. But that's typically why people hire a coach. That's why I hire coaches, to achieve a goal. I have a goal in mind. I hire someone to help me do that. And I've hired plenty of coaches in the past. And so they do that, which is wonderful. But what I try to help people understand is more often than not, what's holding them back from achieving the goals they desire, from achieving the success they desire, is them. There's some unrepaired brokenness inside of them, inside of all of us. And so I began to apply that to my clients too. I began to apply this framework to my clients. And the more that I did, the more fruit we were gaining and the more progress we were making towards them achieving success. I mean, not too long ago, I think I've shared this story, but not too long ago, I engaged with an individual that had found significant amounts of success in his life. He had owned multiple businesses. He had earned significant amounts of money. He was a great husband, a great father, well respected and liked by people outside. But he hit this period of life, the season of life where he was stuck. He was literally frozen and didn't know what to do next. And he started to feel incapable of making decisions, incapable of taking the risks to jump into his next entrepreneurial journey. And so he just stuck. And through a series of events, we ended up engaging, got to work, and we ended up recognizing that one of the main reasons why he was stuck was because of something that had happened to him about 15 years prior. A relational issue that changed the entire way that he looked at people and even looked at himself. Even though he had been successful, even though he had had great relationships, there were these hindrances because of something that was unhealed from decades past. And so, all of that to say, this is not just about healing a wound, though this is about healing a wound. This is also about making progress. This is about achieving fulfillment now. This is about seeing ourselves for who we truly are. This is about reconciling the damage that we have done in the past. All of these things can be accomplished by stepping through this wound analysis framework. So, what I want to do for just a few minutes, this isn't going to be exceptionally lengthy, but for a few minutes, I just want to step through this framework for you. I just want to help you to to take this framework and maybe start to apply it to your life, to your personal life, to your professional life, to everything. So I want to talk about the three steps of the framework. Again, uh, in my book, which I highly recommend you pick up, not just because I want to share my story with everybody, but because I believe it will be very relatable and impactful to the large majority of you that will watch this, that are a part of this community, that may see this video elsewhere. So I deeply, deeply believe that this book alone will have a positive impact on your life. But what you'll see is inside of every single chapter, as I write, towards the back of every chapter is the framework. The framework for that specific wound I went through and how I processed that myself, how I learned from it, and grew as the result. And it starts every hurt, heartache, tragedy, struggle, whatever that we encounter must start, if we're going to ultimately heal and grow from them, we must start by acknowledging the fact that we were hurt. I think far too often people don't want to admit that they were hurt, particularly those that are high performers, that are successful individuals. And this is even more so for the men than it is for the women. More often than not, it's like nobody can hurt me. I'm impenetrable. Yeah, that was a real bad situation, but I'm over that. And the reality of the matter is, more often than not, that's not the case. I would say probably all the time that's not the case because we were hurt. We all may feel pain differently, but we all feel pain. And so the first thing that we need to do is acknowledge the fact that we were hurt. When my parents divorced when I was 6, it hurt me. When I nearly shipwrecked my own marriage, it hurt me and it hurt my wife and it hurt other people around us. When I was unfairly accused of not giving it my all in a job that I was in, that hurt me. It wasn't fair. And I just need to be able to admit the fact that it hurt. And so if you decide to go back into the past, you got to start by just saying that I was hurt. This isn't about playing the victim. This isn't about living with this label or identity. This is about acknowledging the fact that at some point in my life, I was hurt by someone or something, maybe even myself. So that's step one in that. From this, again, as you follow along in the book, 2 is what I say is realizing the effect. So we acknowledge the fact that something hurt us, someone hurt us, or we hurt ourselves. And then we need to realize the effect that it had on us. And this is typically going to be a dual effort. You are going to realize that it negatively impacted you way back when, and it may be negatively impacting you now. So, for example, really quickly, again, I talk about this in my book. You can read this. This is one thread that runs all throughout the entire thing. I didn't even realize until decades and decades later, 40 years later, almost, that when my parents divorced, that had a negative impact on the way I saw myself and therefore on the way that I handled every friendship and relationship moving forward from that point. I didn't even know how badly that had impacted me. Until now, I go back and look at that. And you may say to yourself, well, why do I have to go back into the past? Why do I have to go back and unearth something that was so hurtful before? Like, it's in the past, it doesn't matter. This is one of the greatest ways to build self-awareness is to understand how we became who we are. Too often when we want to grow, when we want to change, when we want to get better, we just focus on the getting better. But we need to understand how we got to this point. And so realizing the effect will very often be the way to do that. And then finally, so again, so book, framework. We have resources and guides for this. If you're in our coaching programs, we offer a dozen different guides, but one of them is a more in-depth look at this wound analysis framework. But finally is unlock the greatness. So we acknowledge the hurt, we realize the effect, and then we unlock the greatness. What does that mean? Well, I believe, because of what God's word says, that though we may commit evil, commit sin, or somebody may commit sin against us, that God will ultimately use that for good. It may not always be for our good. It may be for the greater good, but it will always be used for good. But more often than not, our negative experiences, our hurts, our heartaches, our tragedies are opportunities for us to become better. I've talked about this before. The worst tragedy, the worst wound I've experienced to this point in my life, and I pray this is the worst one I'll ever experience, was being in the crowd when the mass shooting happened at Route 91. And the worst part of that all was losing our friend Nicole. And I gotta say that, and I've said this before, so I would do anything apart from sacrificing the life of my wife or my 2 kids. I would do anything to unwind that day, to go back and to prevent it from ever happening. So Nicole, the other 57 people never lost their life. The near 1,000 people wouldn't have been injured. The near 22,000 people wouldn't have had their lives ruined forever in one way or another. But I'm better for it. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better friend. I'm a better human being in a world that needs better human beings. And it is because of that tragedy. Because I was able to take time to understand how that impacted me. And from there, I was able to take those lessons and apply them moving forward. Not perfectly, but I continue to learn and grow from that. And my point is no matter what we go through, we can learn, we can grow, we can get better. And that's how we ultimately unlock the greatness that God has put inside of every single one of us. We are being forged in the fire, the word of God says. And I believe that is in fact the case. So, what's the point of all of this? Well, I shared that earlier, but I want to land the plane in the same way, and I promise that this was going to be a little bit shorter of a session, and it will be. But um, I just want to tell you this again. I want to reiterate this. I used to be a gambling man. Um, I would still call myself a gambling man. I just don't do it in the same ways I did before. And I would bet a good amount of money that every single person that will ever come across this video, every single person that I will ever stand up and speak in front of, all has some hurt inside of them that is not fully healed. I bet on it a lot. Sometimes people don't even realize that some negative event from the past is hindering their ability to be all of themselves in the present. And so I cannot emphasize enough the importance of working through this framework. This is one of the main reasons why I encourage people to be part of our Unlocking Greatness community. This is one of the main reasons why I encourage people to read my book. This is one of the main reasons why I encourage people to get into one of our coaching programs. We have a great one called Unlocking Foundations. That's about laying that foundation of who are you, what are you called to do, and ultimately, how are you going to get there? And through all of this, every single one of the offerings that we provide to the audience that we interact with, one of the primary goals in all of that is to help people identify, address, and unlock that hurt. It's there, you guys. There's just no way around it. You can say you've moved past it, and there's a few of you that you've done this deep work. But for the mass majority, you have not. You haven't. And I'm telling you right now, this could be the key to it all. I'm not saying that because I'm pitching you something. I am saying that because I am deeply convicted and believe that if you are able to truly heal from the hurt of your past, you will live a life that you only dream of now. Joy, fulfillment. You will have far better relationships. You will be far more professionally successful. You will be more loved by the people around you that already love you. I'm telling you right now how important this is. That's why I stress this so much, because I so deeply believe that this is one of the greatest inhibitors to what we all desire. And I'm still working through mine. I wrote a book on this dang thing, and I'm still working through mine. The things of my past and the things that are happening right now in the present. Because this framework can be overlaid into any negative experience we have for the rest of our lives. So with that said, I cannot encourage you enough. Please, please, please go back, watch this again, listen to the framework, examine your life, jump into the community. If you're not a part of the community, click the link that you'll find in one of the places you'll watch this video to join our Unlocking Greatness community. If you are a part of this community, start participating. This isn't just about me sharing information. This is about us communing together to get better together. I'm telling you right now, there's other people just like you, struggling just like you, desiring just like you. And it will feel so dang good for you to know that there are other people out there that want the same things you do and struggle with the same things you do, because we are far better together than we are alone. So with that, you guys, thank you so much for this session, navigating the wound analysis framework. This is the path to greatness. This is a big part of it. So thank you guys so much. I just love being able to jump into these with you. Hope you're enjoying these. If you are, please let me know. DM me on any social platform. You can text us 714-202-9402. You can join our text community. That's a great way that you can receive multiple updates a week from us, encouragements, tips, all kinds of great things, special offers that we provide. Get into the community, like I said. I want to see this world be a better place. I want to see you live a better life. And so whatever I can do to help you do that, I am here for you. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see you unlock greatness by working through the wound analysis framework yourself. Thanks so much. Talk to you guys soon.